Ethan, I can only be your friend right now. Let's talk about dating after graduation. The moment Vanessa Blake said those words, the whole class erupted in whispers. Some laughed, some mocked me for chasing her for 3 years. To them, I was just the hopeless rich kid who kept throwing money at a girl who never intended to love him. But as I stared at Fairmont University's familiar courtyard, my blood ran cold. Vanessa Blake, Ryan Cole, Ethan Hayes, this was not my world anymore. I had been thrown into the body of the villainous rich hare from a novel, the pathetic fool Vanessa used like an ATM before falling for the original male lead in less than 2 weeks. The old Ethan had believed every excuse she gave him. In high school, she said dating was too stressful. In freshman year, she was too busy. In sophomore year, clubs took all her time. In junior year, she promised she would finally answer him later. For 3 years, she accepted his gifts, his money, and his devotion, then acted like she owed him nothing. So I smiled and said, fine, I agree. Vanessa's expression softened with smug satisfaction. I knew you'd understand me best. But forget being friends, I said. Let's delete each other. The courtyard went silent. Vanessa froze like she had misheard me. Even when she humiliated the old Ethan in public, he would smile, apologize, and come crawling back. She never imagined I would be the one to walk away. She tried to threaten me. She said if I left, she would never speak to me again. I thanked her for the good news. Then she had the nerve to ask about the tuition and living expenses I had promised her. The crowd immediately turned on me. They said a man should keep his promise. They said if I were truly rich, I would pay without hesitation. I looked at them and asked why did not pay for her themselves if they were so generous. When Vanessa's friends kept pushing, I dropped the truth. Over the past 3 years, she had taken gifts in cash worth $600,000 or $700,000. And a few months ago, she borrowed $120,000 in cash for her family. Gifts could be argued over, but a loan was a loan. Vanessa's face went pale. Ryan Cole appeared right on cue, playing the noble hero. He said he would take responsibility for Vanessa and Madison, so I told him to start with the debt. If he wanted to be her white knight, he could pay the $120,000 she owed me. Ryan stiffened. He had courage in his mouth, but not in his wallet. In the end, he signed an IOU with a 2-month deadline. After that, the interest would multiply every day. He glared at me like he had won some moral victory, but all he had done was take on Vanessa's debt. That night, I rented an expensive venue and invited everyone except Vanessa. The entire class rushed over to enjoy the luxury. Vanessa, meanwhile, followed Ryan to a cheap noodle stand and pretended the greasy meal was better than wagyu and champagne. She praised him out loud, but the jealousy on her face was impossible to hide. I was not spending money just to show off. I knew the original plot. Ryan's rise depended on winning certain women, seizing certain businesses, and gathering their resources one by one. If I wanted to survive in this story, I had to take those routes before he did. My first target was Chloe Sterling. Everyone at Fairmont knew Chloe. She was the proud heiress of the Sterling family, beautiful, dangerous, and untouchable. Last year, she threw red wine in Brandon Wallace's face, and no one dared blame her. In the original novel, this fierce Rose loved Ethan with everything she had, but he ignored her until the end. This time, I would not make that mistake. I took Marcus and Damien with me, treated them like brothers instead of errand boys, and made sure they understood that anyone who followed me would share in my good days. They were stunned at first. The old Ethan had ordered them around like servants, but once they realized I meant it, their loyalty became absolute. When I went shopping, I bought gifts not for Vanessa, but for my sisters. Jewelry, collectibles, pastries, Ultraman merchandise, everything they liked. Vanessa saw me from a distance and assumed I was preparing an apology for her. When I walked past without even looking at her, she finally realized those gifts were not hers. At home, my family nearly celebrated when I told them Vanessa and I were done. My father had refused to give me another cent because he thought I would waste it on her again. But once I said I wanted to pursue Chloe Sterling instead, my sister immediately handed me $10 million as a dating fund. The next morning, everyone thought I had brought breakfast for Vanessa like always. She even waited for my apology. Instead, I walked straight past her and handed the food to Chloe. Chloe stared at the breakfast in surprise. When I said it was for her, she looked almost touched. Vanessa, watching from the side, could barely hide her shock. For 3 years, that breakfast had belonged to her. Now it was in another woman's hands. I used the moment to approach Chloe with a business proposal. I told her I had inside information about Crestview. Some land there would soon be rezoned into a top school district, and property values would skyrocket. Chloe did not ask for proof. She placed a card with $50 million in my hand and told me the PN was my birthday. That was the difference between Vanessa and Chloe. Vanessa only took, Chloe gave without hesitation. With Chloe's money and my knowledge of the plot, I bought Crestview Commons and the surrounding land before Ryan could touch it. In the original story, that project became Ryan's comeback. Now it belonged to me. Madison Parker's family breakfast shop became my next warning shot. She had joined Vanessa in pressuring me for money, so I hired people to stand outside her shop and pay customers to eat elsewhere. Ryan tried to save them using a cooking skill granted by his system, but my sister Evelyn arrived with the full weight of the Hayes family behind her. Ryan challenged me like a fearless hero. He expected a one-on-one fight. Instead, he found himself surrounded by more men than he could count. The system had given him combat skills, but it had not prepared him for reality. He ended up beaten, humiliated, and handed money for medical bills. Madison's family collapsed within days. Her parents forced her to apologize, and when she came to me, she finally admitted I had never owed Vanessa anything. She even realized Vanessa had taken advantage of the old Ethan. I let her family go not because I cared, but because the lesson had landed. Soon after, Madison caught Ryan getting close to another girl. She sent photos to Vanessa, expecting outrage. Vanessa simply said men were like that, and that she was still special to him. That answer disgusted Madison so deeply that she finally stepped away from Vanessa and Ryan's circle. Next, I bought Velvet Moon, a bar that Ryan was supposed to use as another money-making route. The owner, Sabrina Vale, was suspicious of me at first. She assumed every rich man wanted to buy her body. When I offered $10 million for a bar worth barely $3 million, she expected a disgusting condition. But my only condition was that she spend the money on herself and never lend it out or invest it for anyone else. Sabrina was stunned. She sold the bar and even invited me to drink with her privately, but I turned her down. Chloe was waiting, and drinking with anyone else would not be fun. Ryan soon received a system mission to approach Sabrina. He strutted into Velvet Moon thinking she would fall for him at first sight, but Sabrina treated him like a lunatic. He demanded to run her bar for a month and promised to double the profits. She called security. When I arrived, she defended me without hesitation. Ryan could not understand it. In the original plot, women chosen by the system naturally drifted toward him. Now they were questioning him, rejecting him, and looking at me instead. He convinced himself I must be coercing them because his ego could not survive the truth. Vanessa tried to return as well. She came to Velvet Moon, apologizing and asking to talk alone. I told her I had no time. When Ryan tried to pull her away, she told him they were not that close. Chloe appeared soon after, and Ryan immediately tried to charm her too. He barely finished introducing himself before he was taught another lesson. Vanessa began to understand what she had lost. She remembered the gifts, the money, and the patience Ethan once gave her. She bought me an expensive watch, hoping to prove she had changed, then asked me out for boba. I rejected her in front of everyone and told her to keep her distance. That rejection broke something inside Ryan's system. Mission after mission had failed. His luck declined, his chosen status collapsed, and the system detached from him. The women around him began waking up from the strange affection that had blinded them. Victoria Ashbourne realized she had been helping a broke, arrogant student fight a family he could never defeat. Julia and the others left him too. Vanessa finally saw him as a cheating jerk. But before that collapse, I still had more of Ryan's roots to cut off. Natalie was being harassed by Derek Blackwell, another spoiled hare at Fairmont. Derek wanted her, so his men blocked seats, threatened her campus store application, and tried to force her to meet him at Velvet Moon. Ryan rushed in to save her, beat a few men, then got crushed when Derek's larger group arrived. I found Natalie afterward and offered to help. She assumed I had bad intentions, just like every other girl tied to Ryan. But when I told her I wanted to invest in her store, her attitude changed immediately. Her campus store had serious potential. Ryan was supposed to benefit from it later, so I bought it first and made Natalie my employee. At Velvet Moon, Derek backed down the moment he heard my name. Ryan had been beaten half to death. I solved the same problem with one sentence. Later, Derek tried to retaliate, only to learn that some of his own men were already loyal to me. Then Chloe quietly attacked the Blackwell family's business contracts, forcing Derek to crawl back and apologize. Natalie's store application was approved soon after. Derek's men started calling her Mrs. Hayes out of fear. She acted annoyed, but she knew exactly who had protected her. Ryan, lying in a hospital bed and surrounded by other women, still claimed he would solve everything once he recovered. Natalie finally saw how empty his confidence was. Lily Whitmore was next. In the original story, Lily was a sheltered rich girl with severe social anxiety and a love for street food. Her parents had always told her street food was dirty, so she never dared buy it. She would stand near the stalls, staring at stuffed flatbread, pan-fried buns, takoyaki, and grilled squid like they were forbidden treasure. Ryan was supposed to take her to the beach and win her trust. Then she would give him a bank card with $1 million on it. I had to stop that. At Harbor Market, I bought a stuffed flatbread in front of Lily and offered it to her. She panicked and accused me of drugging it. I ate it myself. The next day, I offered again. She refused again. Ryan rushed over to protect her, completely missing the fact that all she wanted was the food in my hand. By the third time, Lily could no longer resist. When I walked past with a flatbread meant for Chloe, she chased me and demanded to know where hers was. I reminded her that she had refused me every time. She apologized and begged for it. So I made a deal. From then on, she would hand over her monthly allowance, and I would buy whatever street food she wanted. To Lily, trading useless money for every snack she had ever dreamed of was a bargain. She signed the contract without thinking twice. That cut off Ryan's financial support from the Whitmore family. When he tried to interfere, Lily finally snapped. She told him I had done nothing to her and that he should stop inventing threats. Ryan could not accept it. He kept acting like a hero, but every rescue only made him look worse. I also took Lily to see the ocean, the dream Ryan was supposed to fulfill. When Chloe and I visited Sapphire Bay to watch the glowing blue tide, Vanessa, Natalie, and Lily all saw what they had missed. Vanessa regretted throwing away 3 years of devotion. Natalie understood I already had someone I liked. Lily realized that testing my sincerity had cost her the chance to stand beside me at the glowing shore. She tried to ask Ryan to take her instead. He told her to wait because he was busy with Julia. That was the moment Lily's feelings cooled for good. When she finally paid me $1 million to take her to the beach, I drove her there, let her see the ocean, and left as soon as she was satisfied. She wondered whether I had no sense of romance at all or whether I truly had no interest in her. The answer was simple: I had Chloe. After Lily, I turned toward Haley Monroe. In the original plot, Haley would attend an audition, land a major role, become an international star, and use her influence to help Ryan. I needed to claim that path before he did. I called my sister Olivia Hayes, a famous actress, and asked her to come to Fairmont. Then I approached Haley directly and offered her the lead role in my new production. Haley distrusted me immediately. She had heard about Ryan being beaten and assumed I was just another spoiled hare with an agenda. When Olivia arrived, the entire campus went wild. Haley was a huge fan and could barely speak in front of her idol. Olivia personally asked her to reconsider and even said she would appear in the show. Haley nearly agreed, but Ryan interrupted at the worst possible moment, claiming he had come to save her from my scheme. His accusation made Haley hesitate. Even with Olivia supporting me, Ryan's influence still held her back. She said she needed time to think. I let her go. If Haley refused, I would simply choose someone else. That someone was Brianna Shaw. When rumors spread that I was casting on campus, students swarmed the auditions. Extras earned $300 a day with free meals. Lead roles could pay over $1 million. Haley watched as the chance she had rejected turned into the most sought-after opportunity at Fairmont. I offered Brianna the lead in Blades of Destiny 3. She accepted. The moment Haley heard that even Olivia only had a supporting role, regret hit her like a blade. The lead role should have been hers. If she had not rejected me, she would be the one everyone envied. Ryan ran off to warn Vanessa, Natalie, Lily, and the others that my production was a trap. Haley saw him leave her behind while chasing other women, and the illusion finally cracked. He had promised to protect her, yet he had done nothing. Without him, she would already be the female lead. She came back and begged for another chance. I refused. Then she offered to accept one reasonable condition. I told her the lead was gone, but if she signed with my company, I might consider her for a future project. The contract was brutal. Her training salary was only $800. She had to accept every role the company assigned and follow certain private demands. Haley knew it was unfair, but she also knew this was her last chance. She signed. That night, I called her to my room. Haley expected the worst. She thought I wanted her body, or worse, that I would film her humiliation for rich friends. Instead, I told her to put on a revealing outfit, pose for a few photos, then change back and leave. She was baffled. I sent the photos to Ryan. Ryan immediately exploded. He ran to Victoria Ashbourne, claiming I had forced Haley and dishonored Fairmont's elite. Victoria confronted me for him, but Haley arrived in time and stood on my side. She told Ryan they were nothing to each other and that she did not need his protection. Then she said she had taken the photos willingly and that I had been amazing. It was a lie, but it broke Ryan's pride perfectly. Victoria's attempt to punish me ended quickly. My people stopped her, and she realized she had chosen the wrong side. Ryan had claimed he was defending Haley, but Haley did not want him. One by one, the women tied to his system began seeing him for what he was. Meanwhile, Chloe and I grew closer. She had funded my projects, supported my plans, and even gave me a supercar. I tried to refuse more gifts because she had already done too much. Chloe simply told me that as long as I never left her, she would give me 1 house, 10 houses, even 100 without hesitation. Her devotion was overwhelming. The old Ethan had ignored a woman like this for Vanessa. I could not understand how foolish he had been. One evening, after I gave Chloe a gift and placed it on her myself, she kissed me. It was her first kiss, and she said it was her gift to me. From that moment, I knew I could not treat her as just part of a strategy anymore. Ryan, on the other hand, had nothing left but rage. Vanessa worked at Velvet Moon as a bunny girl promoter after accepting my offer of $8,000 a month plus commission. At first, she thought the pay was insulting because she was used to the old Ethan spending far more on her, but her classmates explained that the offer was actually excellent. She convinced herself it was my test and agreed to work hard so she could win me back. Ryan tried to tear up the contract and pay the damages for her. Vanessa refused to quit. She said she liked working for me. When Ryan paid off her old debt, she told him to stop messaging her because she liked me now. Even Sabrina, Natalie, Lily, Haley, and Victoria had drifted away from him. Rebecca and Julia began doubting him. The system's missions failed again and again. His luck kept falling. At last, the system abandoned him completely. It declared that he no longer met the selection criteria and detached, taking back its power and resetting the affection that had warped the women around him. The spell broke. Vanessa remembered how strange it was that she had tolerated Ryan's cheating. Victoria wondered why she had ever helped a penniless student challenge the Hayes family. Julia walked away. Rebecca saw through his empty promises. Vanessa exposed him on Fairmont Confessions as a cheating jerk. Ryan collapsed in desperation, calling himself the chosen one and begging the system to return, but it had already moved on. When it tried to bind to me, promising an apex ascension path and a vast harem, I rejected it without hesitation. I did not need that disgusting thing. I had Chloe. With the system gone, the future changed completely. My project succeeded. Blades of Destiny 3 became a national sensation after release. It broke television rating records, won multiple awards, and turned me into a newly acclaimed director and young entrepreneur. At my engagement ceremony with Chloe Sterling, the venue overflowed with luxury cars, celebrities, and powerful guests. The female leads from my show attended. So did all 5 of my sisters: Evelyn Hayes, head of the Hayes Group; Olivia Hayes, the famous actress; Sophie Hayes, the blogger with millions of followers; Grace Hayes, the young entrepreneur; and Audrey Hayes, the top programmer. Reporters tried to film the Sterling family's aristocratic guests, but Chloe's people blocked them with effortless authority. My sisters grumbled about those arrogant elites, but Evelyn said my future achievements would leave every one of them in awe. Standing beside Chloe, I looked at everything we had built and felt like I'd crossed into a dream. I had entered this world as a doomed villain, a joke written to lose everything to the hero. But by taking Ryan's opportunities, cutting off his support, and choosing the woman who had loved Ethan from the beginning, I changed the ending. Chloe looked at me and said it felt unreal that we had finally made it this far. I held her hand and told her this was only the beginning.